Let's talk Doug Christie. He was introduced today in a press conference as the new Kings head coach. Scott Perry, the new Kings GM, was up there. He gave a very long intro discussing why he chose Doug Christie to be the next coach of the Kings.
I want to share with you just why I believe so strongly that Doug Christie is the right person to lead this franchise moving forward. As I mentioned to you last week, I first met Doug as a player when he was with the Toronto Raptors. And at that moment, I saw a young man who was extremely professional, hardworking, dedicated to his craft. And then I was fortunate enough 8 years ago when I worked here for a short time in Sacramento to get to know Doug Christie, the man, learn more about his character, which I value deeply. And so from afar this past season, when I was sitting at home in Florida watching a lot of NBA basketball, I got a chance to observe Doug Christie take over as the head coach here, and quite frankly, which was a very difficult situation. He did so with class, poise. He had a tremendous presence on the court. I watched him connect with this group of players that led to some success on the court. That connectivity was very obvious to me. Doug, in doing so through this turbulent time, posted a winning record while also improving the team's offensive efficiency. But above and beyond all of that, Doug Christie embodies the values that I so deeply treasure and appreciate, and what we're going to build this organization on. And I mentioned them to you before: professionalism, discipline, a defensive mindset, and a selfless, team-oriented approach on the offensive end of the floor. I've given Doug my full support and will continue to do so and help him set the course and the vision for his long-term success and our long-term success. So with that being said, I'd like to present to all of you, the King, is my honor to present to you Doug Christie, the next head coach of the Sacramento Kings.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Realize I probably shouldn't play the whole clip of that, Morgan, on the intro, but I felt like it did kind of tell the story. It was probably too long, huh?
You did, well, you stated right from the start, you're like, a lengthy intro. And then I'm like, okay, well, how much of those intros are going to play?
Right.
And then it's like, oh, shit, he's playing the
I'm
whole
going to
thing.
take that. I'm going to take that.
Okay.
I should keep up the pace, but I just wanted to set the tone for how Scott Perry was talking about Doug Christie today. There's been so much talk about the hire, right? Doug Christie has a lot of fans, but there's also some people that are going, why not do a full-on coaching search? Is this really Scott Perry's guy? What were your takeaways after listening to that and hearing the entire press conference?
Well, one of my main takeaways with Scott Perry, he's really good at leading a room, or like, I don't know. I don't know how to put, like, he says what he wants to say. So then if you are going to throw questions at him, he probably already answered it with whether it's within an intro or something else that he already said.
Effective communication. You go ahead, and especially when you're at a press conference, you go command a room and go, you're probably going to ask why I hired this guy. So what I'm going to start with is 3 minutes of why this was my guy, why I connected with him, the time I spent with him, kind of to go, hey, like, I was a part of this. I was involved with this, and here's why. So the messaging was good.
Yeah, and it's like we always say, it's on camera. You're saying it with your own words. It's out loud. So if anything does eventually go wrong, it's on your resume. You know, it falls on you. And so, you know, he's taking that on because I truly believe that he believes in this. Like, even if there is the other side of it where it's like, oh, the organization really likes Doug too, blah, blah. But like, there's obviously a part of Scott that believes in this as well.
Yeah, I just don't think he takes the job if he's not comfortable with Doug Christie as coach.
Because why would you do this at this point of your career?
And it's something I brought up a while back. Like the way coaches are being dealt with in the NBA the last couple of years, you're like, they get cycled out fast. Maybe is this the new trend? Do teams just cut bait faster than ever with what we've saw with Phoenix, with Budenholzer and Vogel the last couple of years? Hell, here in Sacramento, Mike Brown, 3 months after getting an extension, $30 million owed, fired in December, and then last year Monty Williams, who got fired in the first year of a 5-year deal. So maybe it's just like, hey, you know what? I like him enough. And we do align a lot of these things.
Yeah.
He's liked here. The players like him. If it works, this could be great for us. And we know who he is. Like you know who this guy is.
And he knows the organization. But you also brought up another trend to me earlier that it seems like what teams are kind of doing as well.
Well, we're seeing teams, these last 3 job openings.
Yeah.
Go with the person who was in the interim position,
correct.
Right? Doug Christie took over in Sacramento. Then today we find out Greg Popovich is no longer going to be the Spurs head coach, transitioning into being the team president. We'll talk about that later. But Mitch Johnson, who is the acting head coach, he takes over. Dude, people were like Taylor Jenkins maybe getting that job. There's so many other names being floated about. Who's going to coach? They go with Mitch Johnson, a guy that they just know, who's been as an assistant. They know him. He's done the job. Oh, okay. The guys like him.
Yeah.
We're going to go with it. You didn't see a coaching search there. Memphis, same thing, right? Taylor Jenkins gets let go. You have Tomas Isalo. Is that how you say it? Isalo?
Dude, that's really good. I was like, how is Deuce going to, because
Isalo.
I haven't said it enough. Okay.
Anyway, Isalo.
Isalo.
I hope I'm nailing that.
I pray you are.
Still learning. You don't.
Especially with him. Yeah. I wasn't saying his name every single second after Taylor Jenkins got fired.
I feel bad if I mess that up. Anyway.
We'll get it.
He takes over, right? After Taylor Jenkins gets fired late in the year. And now he gets the job. They do a coaching search, a guy that's been in-house, a guy that's really respected, all that stuff. My point isn't like, oh, the Kings are doing the right thing. I'm just saying, like, from a trend perspective, I do find it interesting. I don't know what it means. And that's why I go, I wonder if these teams are just thinking, you know what? At least we know that this guy.
Yep. They know us.
He coached them last year. He did a good enough job. Let's give him another chance. And we're not paying them a ton.
Well, and that's what I was going to say.
If we fire them, like
maybe it's low risk even for some of these people of where they're transitioning of going. And that's why even when you look at the Sacramento Kings and what they do need to do, I guess that was one of the questions I thought was interesting. I think it was Michelle Dapper or maybe someone else that was talking about like the roster and like, what are you doing with this? And it was like, that is where I felt like we weren't getting the clear answer, but at the same time,
what are they going to say?
Right. At this point of the offseason, what are you going to say necessarily? Like, yeah, no, we want to trade this guy, get rid of this guy. It's more they talk about the whole of what their goal is within their identity, and especially when it comes to the defensive end. And look, you all love when a GM, especially a new GM in your organization, talks about defense and integrity and all the good things. But I think there's more than just buzzwords to this, because someone like Scott Perry has been in basketball for so long that like he knows the people that he's thinking of and or talking about that he has possible relationships with that he wants to get here in Sacramento.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're watching this playoffs enough, you see the teams who can guard multiple possessions, who can protect the rim, can create second chance opportunities and just rebound. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in it. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in it. And so you can have offensive firepower like the Lakers, right? With Luka and LeBron. What happened on the other end? You had a team in Minnesota that's got dogs, that has versatility and depth, and you need depth too. And so all these teams want the same things. They want versatility at the wing. They need rim protection. You look at the Lakers, 0 rim protection. They couldn't even play Jackson Hayes. They get bounced because of it. You have to be able to guard. You have to have rim protection. And so these are all things that, like, we could talk all that. Hey, this coach was like to your point. It's like, well, let's see what they do with this roster, and it's not going to be easy to alter everything either.
Yeah. No. So ultimately, though, I guess that was the overall vibe of today's presser.
I feel like I've got a bit of a motor mouth tonight, huh?
You know what? Not as bad as you think.
Okay.
Definitely has been worse.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you'll have some takes that are longer,
Yeah.
but you're actually making good points.
Okay.
So I'm like, all right, let him cook a little, you know?
I'm unlocked right now.
Yeah.
I'm feeling good.
Hey, but it's Friday night, as you should.
I'm feeling awesome. I love basketball. Morgan Reagan.
Yeah, what else?
Speaking of Doug Christie, he was asked about his relationship, building a relationship with the new GM, Scott Perry.
Simple, like just talking to him, I think that you guys get the gist of what Scott is about. You can hear the professionalism, you can hear the drive and desire, but you can also hear cutting through all the bull. And that's one of the things that I truly appreciate about him from talking to him is I know that I'm going to get the honest. And that's one of the things that in our business you don't always get, and I appreciate that. So, yeah, we got the right guy.
That's good to hear. That's great to hear. That's number one. I need my GM and head coach to be on the same page. And I think that's one area where Kings fan, it's like a legit point. Like when we knew Monty was gone, we're like, okay, is there going to be a full coaching search?
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is like to hire your head coach before you hire a GM, because that just doesn't seem like a situation that thrives very often. And we've seen that in Sacramento, right? So you need this partnership between Perry and Christie to be real.
Yeah.
And they seem like two real individuals. So I have no doubt they could be on the same page. And as Scott said, like they have the same basketball values.
Absolutely. And like, look, relationships change over time. Like what we're saying right now, like anything could be different a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, hopefully even longer. But at the same time, to be on the same page from the start and kind of appreciate the game at the same level as well. I mean, we know this about Doug. He's a basketball sicko. He's a student of the game. And now he's learning basketball at every level, from playing broadcast to now being an actual head coach in the NBA. So I just feel like those two together with what we know about them and their personalities and their character, it's starting off in the right direction.
Christie was also asked what has to change for him to be successful as head coach.
Has to change in order for you to be successful here?
Well, I
Thanks,
think
Sean.
the first thing is sitting right next to me right here. Like Scott just comes in and leans on credibility. He leans on steadying things out. And just our conversations, like that probably gives me the biggest sense of calm and knowing that going forward, the path will be, like he said, North Star. Like we're headed toward the right direction. And for me, just personally, that's the biggest thing is Scott and the direction that we go from here.
Good to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, love it. Saying all the right things.
The last thing, of course, anytime a coach gets hired, you have to ask them about a culture.
A lot of people talk about culture, and for me, habits build culture. Culture is a byproduct of habits, and we want to establish a very, very high level of those, but also the ability for our team to be a physical manifestation of this community. It's blue collar, it's hardworking, it's loyal.
Dogs.
It's so loyal that it kept the team here, and we want players that are going to represent that they when they come through the turnstiles and when they leave, they know that they've gotten every piece of what they thought. Heart, soul, blood, sweat, tears, they get it all. And that's what this community is about. And I think that that's what Scott is saying, to echo him, is what we want to be about.
Yeah, I love that because it's simple. Like, of course, all Kings fans want a winning product.
Yeah.
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Basketball gods for once. But base level, like, I want dogs out there. I want guys diving on the floor. I mean, some of like my favorite moments this year were like, can you believe that play Jake LaRavia made? It was like him diving on the ball. And like, those are the things that you want.
Yeah.
It's guys that are just going to go out there and fight and not roll over.
It's something I try to explain to people when people try to just say like, oh, we have the best fans in the world, like in our city, in our market, blah, 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 all the different things. And I love people feel that for different reasons. But I think truly what it is here in Sacramento of why there are so many fantastic fans. One, no one's a bandwagoner, right? Like you're loyal as hell if you're sticking around. You're a basketball sicko with this squad. But the things that are ultimately appreciated, it doesn't matter if it's the most random player in the world putting on that Kings jersey, if they're the one to have that game where they are just every single place on the floor, diving on the ground, getting steals, like being the role player, just doing the things that they're supposed to do in their role. Like Kings fans appreciate it. They're smart. They understand the game and they appreciate these things that come from these energy players.
Yeah.
So bring those players.
Yeah, bring those players. And look, you've seen so many front office changes and coaching changes in Sacramento over the years. We said this right when Doug got hired, like the 20th, 21st coach in 40 years. It's just endless. And I think most fans by now are sick of having these press conferences every couple of years. These are things you don't want. Yeah. Hey, can we go 7 years?
Hey.
Okay. 5 years.
There we go.
You know what I mean? And so there's only so much some people can stomach with okay, I've heard it, I've seen it. And to a certain extent, I'm just with you on that. It's I've heard all the same stuff and I try my best to keep being hopeful. Yeah. And I'm hopeful now because it seems like at least there's two good guys running this team together. They seem like they're on the same page. I think Scott's got credibility with Vivek that he'll give him the trust that he needs to go execute the job. And I think Doug's got the leadership qualities and the basketball acumen to be a good motivator and a good coach. You surround him with some experience on that bench, whether it's former head coaches. I know Sean Cunningham mentioned he heard the possibility of someone like Mike Woodson, the former Hawks and Knicks coach. He actually played for the Sacramento Kings at 1.2 back in the early 80s or 1985, whatever. Anyway, Woodson, a lot of credit. Who else can you find some experience on Christie's bench? That's going to be critical going forward.
Yeah. Something you'd mentioned too, you were talking about, just these teams and sick of having a new press conference, a new introductory press, all the things. Other teams around the NBA have that, but the biggest difference is that it feels like some of these teams, their ultimate goal is championship. So when they fall in the playoffs, they're still playing winning basketball, and then they're falling short of higher standards and higher goals. And I just feel like in Sacramento for so long, it's so low and teams are so mid, season after season, where then of course you have a coaching, of course you have this, where I think ultimately if you see a little bit more of that winning consistently, and then these things are happening, doesn't hurt as bad, right? Yep. An introductory presser every couple of years doesn't hurt as bad. But when you're just seeing losing and you're seeing that, it's a dagger in the heart. You also sat down with Doug today, one-on-one for NBC Sports California. And I just want to make sure that when that comes out, that we are pushing that out as well.
We will. They are editing it right now. The local stations did interviews. I feel like all of them have been posted already. I did get a little more time.
Ooh.
22 minutes.
Damn. Well,
it's not because of me. It's because NBC's a partner.
Yeah.
So it's all right. We'll give you extra.
It's because of Deuce. Wow.
No, but it was cool to sit down with Doug and talk about kind of his journey and how he's feeling about things. But yeah, I just, I see some other people saying, experience is definitely, someone like Jeff Van Gundy in that role. Yeah, Van Gundy's been huge for the Clippers. I expect Bobby Jackson will be back. He's been with the Sixers the last couple of years, and of course super close with Doug, a guy who's been in the league and has experience being an assistant outside Sacramento. Did a great job with the Stockton Kings in the G League, been with Minnesota and then Philly. So I think that will be a good addition if that ends up happening. And then you fill it out with some experience and put Doug in a good spot so he's got the support system he needs as he continues to learn. There's just stuff you're just not going to know. And all the shit he faced in this first year. All right. And the reality too with Doug too is if this works out, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be iconic because he is such a fan favorite. He's such a good dude. And for someone who who grew up in Seattle, didn't grow up in Sacramento, played here for 5 years, and I know he's been a broadcaster and lived here since. It feels like he is from Sacramento, and he gets it. He understands the fan base. He has the same love and passion. And dude, I root for a guy like that I know deep down has pain in his heart because he was unable to help get this team a championship in 2002. And it literally haunts him. It's not some cute talking point. He's not doing it for a cheap pop. He genuinely means it. And for me, as someone who grew up rooting for him as a kid, I'm like, yeah, like I want this guy to succeed.
Well, you think about what haunts us as fans over the year. It's like, oh, if Chris Webber didn't go down, oh, if this. And then you think about actually being one of the players on the floor that was experiencing it, that was trying to be the one to execute and accomplish and get that thing done for an entire community, and then couldn't. Yeah, I'm sure there's a little extra drive, but I hope it just gets channeled in the right way, and I hope a lot of things can go in the right direction. Again, track record, shows with a lot of different things with this organization. It's hard to just say that and look for sustainability and consistency, but like if you don't ever try and just like look at the positive and just go toward the hope, well, then you're just going to be a miserable person. And then why are you even, following anything anymore?
But when you I think like that sometimes too. And then the thing I always say in their defense is like, yeah, but it's hard when you've just dealt with so much. It's at some point just like,
bro, I'm not saying it's not hard.
Hey,
and I'm just I guess like I try to be an optimist in that way because it's like, I love
that's why you watch basketball, right?
So much.
It's fun.
But something else we did say too, when we're watching playoff basketball right now, Deuce, how many times have we actually said to each other, like, man, if you are someone who has only watched the Kings and you have not actually watched like playoff basketball, like Kings basketball is the only basketball you've been exposed to, you're just not experiencing it all the right way, right? And it's like, I don't want to have to say that or feel that. I want the product to be like the Beam Team year where it was so exciting and everyone wanted to talk about it. Even if it wasn't the best product out there on the floor, it just needs to get back to that kind of style of basketball.
I'm with you. And hopefully it does.
I need
there.
it for myself.
I am at the point too, watching the playoffs too, just going, oh God, this guy would look good here. Houston, what are you doing with all these wings? Do you really want Easton? I know you like him, but you're kind of like, you're not committing to him fully, right? Like, you can't play him 30. What about Jabari Smith? Can you use someone like that?
You're
Come
insane.
on.
Insane.
That's where I'm at because I want to see it, but that's going to be the challenge. And I know we're going to cover all offseason long about, okay, how do they navigate these offseason waters with some of the contracts they have? Who could they part with? Blah, blah, blah. I'm fascinated to see how it plays out. I really am.
I am too.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast